I've traded and been paid out with most of the major prop firms in the futures space, and one question I get asked all the time is what is the prop firm I would recommend? And I always reply with the same answer: it depends on the trader. But in this video, I'm going to break down my top 5 futures prop firms in the space right now in terms of payout rules, drawdown limits, and evaluations for the trader to pass and get funded. And one thing you should note is I have no affiliation with any of these prop firms that are going to be mentioned in this video. I just found success with them, so I thought I would share it with you guys. I will leave a link to all of these prop firms in the description down below so you can check out them and do your own due diligence. But with all of that being said, let's get into this video. This is what the ranking criteria is going to look like for picking the best prop firms in terms of getting payouts. And that's all I care about. What is the best evaluation I can take to pass and start getting paid? That's all what you should be concerning yourself with as well. The first thing we're going to focus on to ranking these prop firms is obviously the profit target to drawdown ratio. This is very important because you obviously don't want a prop firm with a large profit target and a very small drawdown, because obviously that's working against you. You want to find challenge accounts that are for the trader, so you're in the positive. You don't want to be in a negative with a prop firm. A prop firm's business model is for you to lose and them to make money. That's pretty much it. So how do you win? Pretty much like the way you win is by having the odds in your favor, or 50-50. So 50-50 means the prop firm will win and so will you. These are 50-50 odds. They're a lot better than these kind of odds where you have a 30% chance of winning and the prop firm has the rest of the percent of winning, so 70% of winning. And then we're going to look at payout speed and consistency rules. So a lot of futures prop firms have consistency rules. I'm going to break down why consistency rules are going to be important for certain challenges and why you don't need to focus on consistency rules for certain challenges as well with these prop firms. And then obviously payout speed. This is one of the most important things because you're taking an evaluation, you want to pass it and get paid out on time. So the next thing is realistic daily drawdown limits and trailing rules. So we're going to speak about the trailing drawdown, which is going to be the best form of drawdown where these firms are going to rank. And then we're going to speak about daily drawdown limit. So if there is a daily drawdown or not, how you can attack it, because I have done a video on this previously. And then another most important thing is customer support and platform reliability, like which platform is the prop firm offering and what is the customer support like. And then trader experience, so what other traders have experienced. So me personally, I'm going to be ranking these firms in order from what I've traded with and what I've personally experienced. So let's move on to the ranking of the first prop firm. The first prop firm that I'm going to put in the S tier is going to be My Funded Futures. This mainly comes down to their payout speed, the evaluations that they do offer, and their customer support. Because me personally, I've been paid out multiple 5 figures with these guys. And the evaluations that they do offer now offer multiple 6 figures that you can get into. So let's get into breaking this evaluation down and the best ones that they do offer. So over on the My Funded Futures page, you guys can see that they offer 3 different evaluations. One of them being the core evaluation, the second one being the scale, and then the third one being the pro. So they're all going to differentiate in their pricing because they are going to be different challenge accounts. The pricing of the core plan is like this, $77 per month, but obviously when you do pass, you don't need to pay the $77 anymore. The 50k account does get activated. You don't need to pay an activation fee because you can see they offer no activation fee, which is one of the biggest upsides for this prop firm, because many other prop firms, once you do pass, you have to pay an additional fee to activate that account. And to me personally, that's really just a scam that most prop firms are using to get traders enticed into paying more money. But you can see $3,000 profit target. The max contracts are 3. There's no daily loss limit. So that is a good thing, because even if you are wrong about your bias, you don't want to hit your daily loss limit and then you can't capitalize on that trade. So there's no daily loss limit, which is great. Max drawdown is 2,000, which is standard. And then the drawdown mode is end of day drawdown. So that's exactly what you want to look for. You want to look for the prop firms which offer the end of day drawdown. And if we go into the reset fee is $77. So obviously what you paid, you can just reset that. And they do have a micro scaling. So you can trade 3 minis or you can trade 30 micros. And you can see micro scaling into funded accounts as well. So you can trade up to 15 micros in the funded. And there is no consistency rule. So that is what makes this plan really enticing to me. However, there is a consistency rule on the evaluation. So this is exactly how you should be approaching these futures prop firms. If they offer a consistency rule on the eval, demand no consistency on the funded. If there's a consistency on the funded, demand no consistency on the eval. That's exactly how you should be looking to buy a prop firm challenge. So that's the core accounts. They are great as well. I personally like the scale and the pro the most. So the scale you can see right here. These are the different accounts that you can buy. So with the 50Ks, you are allowed up to 5 funded accounts. With the 100 and 150Ks, I think you're only allowed up to 3. So same thing here, $3,000 for the profit targets. I like to stick with 50K accounts because for the money that you put in and what you can get out on your investment, they are the best ones. So $3,000 is the profit target, 3 max contracts, no daily loss limit, end of day drawdown, and max drawdown is going to be $2,000. And again, all of these accounts have no activation fee, which is amazing. And then the reset's obviously the same price as what you paid for the account. There is micro scaling and scaling rules and the scaling within the funded. So same as the core accounts, you're allowed up to 15 micros on the funded. There is no consistency rule, but there is a consistency rule on the evaluation. So these are a bit more pricey, but they are in terms of payouts better than the core accounts. And you can have, I believe, 5 core accounts scale. You can have 5 scale accounts with the 50Ks and 3 with the 100 and 150K funded. So now the pro ones. So for me personally, I like these the most. So this is $227 per month, but obviously this goes away once you do pass. The main upside to these accounts is when you're on the funded account, there is really no minimum days that you need to reach for. So if you make anything above the buffer, so if you're up 52,000 on the account and you make an additional 5,000, you can keep your first 10K, 100% of it is yours, and you don't need to aim for any trading days. So there's no consistency on the funded at all. Same rules apply, but within the funded account, it's a lot better because you have more moving room to play around with your positions. Basically, you can treat it somewhat like a cash account. And that was a bit about my funded futures. I really like their payout speed, the accounts that they do offer, and their customer support. Now let's move on to the second prop firm. Prop firm we are going to go over is going to be Funded Next Futures. These guys are great. They have released a new plan which is breaking the industry right now, mainly because of the payout rules. The end goal for a prop firm trader is to get paid out, and these guys executed that very well. So let's get into Funded Next Futures and break down the plans that they do offer. So on Funded Next, you're allowed up to 300K in funding. So you're allowed up to 3 100K accounts, 6 50K accounts, and around 12 25K accounts to make up the 300K in funding. And that's max funded that you can get with this prop firm. In my opinion, the rapid accounts are great. So the profit target for this account, if you're going with a 25K, is 1.5K, 3K for the 50Ks, and then 5K for the 100Ks. So my eye is always going to be drawn to the 50Ks, and you want to look for the prop firms which offer no discounts on an evaluation. So most people are like, no, you want to look for the prop firm with a discount. Well, the challenge with the discount is usually the one that people are basically not trading the most because it's harder for them to get a payout with. The account which doesn't have a discount code usually is the one that most people are taking profits from that prop firm. So if there's no discount code on it, then you know that this is the better route to go with, because if you do pass and try and get a payout, it's going to be a lot easier. So the 50Ks, you can see 3K is the profit target. Maximum loss is 2K, which is standard. There's no max daily loss, and also no activation fee, which is amazing. And then there's no benchmark days, so you can just pass this in one day. So there's no consistency rule. And the max positions that you can have on the challenge is 3 minis or 15 micros, or 5 minis and 25 micros on the funded. So with the consistency on the funded, all you have is a 40% consistency. So you need 3 winning days pretty much to withdraw from these accounts. So the max you can withdraw on the 50K is 1,500, and you can withdraw that across 6 accounts. So I'm sure you can do the math of how much you can make with this just within 3 days. Well, 4 days if you pass in one day, and then you have the 3 other days to make up the 40% consistency. Next, we have the legacy accounts. These are on a discount, they're on a sale. Do you know why they're on a sale? Because most people are taking them, failing them, so it makes sense to put it on a discount so more people would buy. Rapids have no discount, so you know why the Rapids have no discount. So with the legacy, these are good too. They have 2,500 as the profit target. The maximum loss is 2,500. no daily loss limit, no activation fee, and you're allowed up to 3 minis and 30 micros, and then 5 minis and 50 micros. And there is a consistency rule on the funded account. So me personally, I would recommend the rapid accounts. They are great just in terms of getting paid and what they do actually have to offer. Now let's move on to the third prop firm. The next prop firm that I do have putting in the solid tier is Blue Guardian Futures. This makes a lot of sense to me due to the pricing of the evaluation. The pricing of the evaluations are great for the trader and the different evaluation types that they do offer. So let's get into that. So on their page right now, you can see the different types of valuations. They have the standard, the Guardian, and the instant funding. Yes, they do offer an instant funding, but for me personally, the Guardian plan is what I'm trading right now, and I'm close to getting my payout. So I will update you guys on that. So the profit target on this is $4,000 with the 50K. You're allowed up to 5 contracts, and then there's no daily loss limit. Maximum daily loss is $2,000. So same as every other prop firm. End of day drawdown, so which is what you want to see. And then your payouts, you can request them every 14 days. There is an activation fee, but when you think about it, the price of the evaluation plus the activation fee is pretty much the same as every other prop firm that we spoke about. So with the reset fee, it is $79. However, so if you do buy an account, try to pass it instead of like hopelessly gambling it away. And there is no scaling rule, there is a micro scaling, and there is a consistency rule on the funded. So this is why I like the Guardian plan better than the standard and the instant, mainly because on the funded, there is a consistency, but on the eval, there is no consistency. So you can pass this however you like. So the pricing of this is $31. This is mainly why I wanted to put it in the second, because $31 you can pick up this account. Worst case scenario is you lose the account, but you understand why you lost it. Did you over leverage? Did you trade outside of your plan? And you have something that you can play around with, understanding futures. So that's why I thought this is a great plan. I'm close to getting my payout. So you're allowed to get a payout every 14 days with a consistency rule of 30%. But the price of the evaluation and then the activation fee comes out to pretty much the same as the funded next account. And you are allowed up to 3 funded accounts with Blue Guardian Futures. So the account I would recommend you go for if you do check them out is the Guardian plan. I like the 50Ks the most with them, and you're allowed up to 3 funded accounts. So all in, if you do buy 3, you are paying around $90 just to take the evaluations. If you do pass, then you pay the $79 activation fee. But if you're trading with the other 2 prop firms that I mentioned before, then you're all in around the same price anyway, but that's just upfront. So that was the third prop firm in line with funded next. Now let's go over the 4th and the 5th prop firms right now. And now the next prop firm that I do have coming in the solid tier is Aqua Futures. I checked out the rules regarding the prop firm and the payout time. They are paying out in less than 24 hours from what I've seen. And I checked out the instant plan. I do have 2 of those that I've picked up, and I'm going to break all of them down right now, but the instant plans are looking the best. So over on Aqua Futures, you guys can see that they offer a 1-phase, instant, and an instant pro. So for me, I looked at the instant. This looked like the best challenge account. The 25K on the instant plan is $151. I picked up 2. Obviously no profit target. Max position you're allowed is 1 mini. So it makes sense if you have a 25K account, you're not going to be risking over 2 minis anyway. So 1 mini made sense. Daily loss limit and the max drawdown, so 1.25. Pretty standard for 25K accounts, not that bad. The main thing that drew me to this was the drawdown mode. So this is end of day drawdown and then the payout on demand. The reset fee, obviously none, and there's no activation fee. There is a micro scaling rule, and consistency rule. As this is an instant account, there is going to be a consistency rule, which is 20%. So all you need is 5 days of active trading. So you don't need to trade 5 days in a row, keeping the consistency of 20%. You need a minimum of $500 to withdraw, and payouts are pretty much processed in 24 hours from what I saw. And then obviously they had the on-demand payouts and end of day drawdown rules. So this is what made me go for the instant account. And I will let you guys know how I get on with the instant account. But let's move on to the next prop firm. Now the last prop firm coming in the tier list is going to be Take Profit Trader. So I put them in average because I'm going to speak about
the rules that they do have for their challenge accounts and the funded. So let's get into that right now. So over on Take Profit Traders website, you guys can see they have an account from 25k all the way to 150k. 50k account is the best size for me, and they do have a promotion which gives you 40% off. So if they do have this promotion running, then only I would recommend buying an account, because $170 one time for a 50k account without an activation fee is pretty steep. So with this promo that they have, there's no activation fee and you get a discounted 40%. They have a profit target of 3,000, which is average. So this is on the evaluation. However, they have 5 days that you need to reach to be able to pass the account, and then you have a 50% consistency on top of that. So for me, that's why it brings them down to average, mainly because of the evaluation that they do have. And then when you do get funded, they do have a trailing drawdown within the funded. So on this, they have an end of day drawdown, but on the funded, they have a trailing drawdown. So if price is moving in your favor, it retraces. This counts as your drawdown going lower. And if you do hit the 2K, so if you're in profit 2K and price comes down to your break even, which is 2K, you lose 2K, and that's where you lose the account as well. So that's why I don't like the trailing drawdown. But the upside is they do have daily payout. And that was about Take Profit Trader. I put them average mainly because of the trailing drawdown, how long you have to wait to get your funded account, because you have to wait 5 days. But I did mention that I had 5 prop firms. I do have a bonus one for you watching this video. So let me get into the 6th prop firm on the list. And this prop firm is going to come to a surprise for a lot of you that have been in the futures space for a while. I do have fast track funding, and they are going in the useless tier. This is because these guys completely just didn't pay anyone out. So all of these prop firms above, they are very professional. You pass the evaluations, you get paid out. However, these guys, anyone that would pay for their instant accounts or whatever, they would not pay them out at all. So this is one thing that I would like to tell you. A prop firm is a business model, right? So you need to understand the prop firm needs to make money as well. So if you ever see anyone come into the trading space and offer an evaluation that sounds too good to be true, do not give your money to that prop firm. This is because 99% of the time that prop firm is going to be a rug pull, and the long-term sustainability for that prop firm is very unrealistic. So these guys that I did mention, they are doing great. Check them out if you are looking to purchase a challenge account. As I said, I have no affiliation to any of them. I'm just simply pointing out the top 5 prop firms that I did review, and I like the looks of their challenges and I've had payouts with and good experiences personally. If you would like to see another part of this video where I do rank a lot more prop firms and giving you details regarding their challenge accounts, do let me know in the comments down below. And if you've not watched my previous video regarding prop firms where I break down the exact approach to passing the challenges, I'll leave that video in the description down below as well. But with all that being said, I hope you did find this video insightful. As always, remember I'm rooting for you, and enjoy the rest of your day.